Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, some of the markets, some of the altcoins, and just things, in general. I'm going to start with Bitcoin first. I do think overall, of course, actually, I know overall we are extremely bullish, right? I've seen a lot of people talk about certain narratives that we're going to be having very, very, very big pullbacks, like possibly coming back down to 93, 94k. I've heard a little bit, not too many, but I've heard some people talking about an imbalance fill at around 85 to 90k. If you guys don't know, imbalance is practically like just say this candle, this whole range, right? Some people also believe we will go back and test this support. And to me, it is simply too late. It is simply too late in terms of the short term. Okay. And the main reason why I say this is, well, for one, ladies and gentlemen, if we look, right, let me just remove all the drawings. If we look and we add the global liquidity, right, we know based off the settings I have that there is a 91-day delay. Okay. If we go to the weekly, right, if you're new or you've seen this before, we'll just explain this quickly, right? If we take the top of the liquidity, we can see when we stretch it out, it's 91 days, before we get the last green weekly candle. After that is sold off, right? If we take it from the bottom, boom, if we look, 91 days as the last red candle before we took off, right? Before we took off to the upside. And if we take this part, ladies and gentlemen, right? If we take this bottom of this blue and we drag it out here, we can see that this weekly candle is the 91-day difference. Now we can see, right? If we are down here currently, right? This is going to be the 91-day week, or sorry, 91-day delay. This weekly candle most likely is going to be some type of manipulation candle. And then next week, most likely we will be taking off, unless something, of course, changed with the liquidity. But overall, I mean, we've seen it. It's been consistently 91 days delay. So I do expect Bitcoin to be ripping to the upside for the next little while, right? At least until this top, which if we take it from here and we go 91 days, would be somewhere around mid-July. So I do expect Bitcoin to kind of, let's say, like I said, chill for roughly a week. And very, very, like next week, very, very likely, based off all the data we've seen, just start going to the upside. We've had our first fake out, right? We've had our first fake out last week, which was expected because, when things start running up, they usually are never going to run up just the first time right away. It's just simple, classic, manipulation just to bait people, right? Because some people definitely took trades. Let's get rid of this indicator. Some people definitely took trades already doing certain longs, right? And if they did it very, very tight, they definitely already got like stopped out or they're in a loss, right? Some people maybe did something wide and they are looking for certain gains. Maybe they're just looking to hold until, like, let's say Bitcoin hits 150k for simplicity's sake, right? So if they're, risking 100,000, or some whales are risking a lot of money, like $1 million, right? By the time it hits 150,000, they're going to make like $4 million, right? Lots of whales do this, but here's the thing, people, right? Institutions, the market makers know this. They know this. So they're not going to just pump it up right away. Okay. That is just how it works. They're not going to pump it up right away. But we've seen it how, the liquidity index does suggest that there will be a pump soon. So what do I think is going to happen? Okay. Well, I think in the short term, we will have some type of sell-off. We can see that we have this nice zone here. And I believe that we are most likely going to, tap into the zone a little bit, fill the imbalance like we kind of did, right? Because we can see if we look at the details, right? If we look at the details, this got liquidity swept, right? By these candles over here. We had a little bit of a balance fill. So, I'm even looking personally to short Bitcoin right now. I mean, this is so short term. And it is fairly risky, right? If I go actually to the 30-minute, I actually have like something like literally like this set up, right? Something like literally like this to at least at the minimum take out certain liquidity over here. So I'm looking for like a 1 to 1.5, nothing crazy, right? I'm just trying to push my limits. I'm just trying to push my limits as a trader to see, how well I can do under certain circumstances and etc. Okay. But I still believe in this type of bias that overall, on the short term, we will more or less, be pulling up, whether that is over here, boom, boom, going back down, or a little higher, let's say maybe going up upwards of 110K, right below 111K, and then selling off. Okay, that is what I personally believe is going to happen. And I believe that is going to happen because there are multiple liquidity points to be taken out, right? We can see on the short term, boom, this is a very easy one. There's definitely orders here looking to be taken out. And of course, right, of course, if we go zoom out on a, much lower, there's a lot of liquidity down here. Now, I'm not saying this is going to necessarily get hit, right? I'm not saying this is necessarily going to get hit, and it doesn't have to, right? This can be left for next cycle. But even if I look, if I look on the time frames now, I can see overall that there's a good amount of imbalance, and we could potentially be going back down to, in my opinion, like around 103 to 104K, right? I do believe that we could wipe out certain areas, fill out certain imbalances, right? Fill out certain imbalances before we start rallying. Now, people might think, well, going, let's just say from 110K to 103, 104 is a lot. But you guys gotta remember, within 2 days, Bitcoin can drop like 7K. And then within 2 days, again, it can recover 7K, right? That is just how the markets are. The markets are full of manipulation. Nowadays, the markets really speed up. I mean, they really speed up. I've been trading, or been into trading since like 2018, 2019. And I tell you, like, the moves that used to take a week can happen within 4 hours now. And I'm not even over exaggerating, right? I'm not even over exaggerating. If you're a trader or you have any type of experience in trading, right? Catching, let's say 20, 30 pips was a lot harder back then than it is now. Like now, like things just move super fast. There's more money in the markets. The market makers care less. I mean, even if we go and look at even just crashes, right? The S&P 500, this thing crashed for like what, a month? It was crashing fairly heavy, for a couple of weeks, right? It was crashing fairly heavy for a couple of weeks. But guess what? That was just a big correction. They're using certain narratives for, a huge correction. So within like what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, it went down. And then again, within 5, 6 weeks, it already recovered. And then now, the next couple of months are going to be absolutely bullish because of global liquidity and everything else. And it's gonna be the same thing with Bitcoin, right? But we can see, if they want to crash something from, 6,140 down to, let's say 4,800, they can, right? Last time, they went from 4,800 to 3,000, let's say 600. That took a very long time. That took months and months. This time around, the crash was roughly the same, maybe a little bit bigger, more or less the same, but it happened within 6 weeks and not, months. So I'm telling you, right? Same thing with the 2020 crash for a couple things, boom, they change a couple things, and there we go. We start to launch and just explode. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, do not be surprised if Bitcoin makes a lot of big moves, right? Of course, if there is going to be some type of sell-off and manipulation, expect your altcoins to be dropping a decent amount, right? Bitcoin goes down 5%. You can expect altcoins to drop from anywhere from 12 to 25%. The reason why I gave it a big range is because meme coins usually suffer more, and I know a good amount of you guys hold meme coins. But yeah, overall, this is my bias. I do genuinely think, this week is going to be the last week of any manipulation, and then next week we are going to start exploding to the upside. Hope you guys did enjoy it, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community. Sell and buy calls and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should've, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets.